I'm bored. Let's react to Melonie back. All right, so the title of this video is Study Reveals Gamers Don't Care About Inclusivity. Interesting. So this is I'm going to assume it's a pretty big study done over several weeks, maybe a couple of months, to get the largest pool possible, the best control group possible to find out whether or not this is true. So I'm hoping she's going to have some sort of a graph or something that shows that there's been a massive Q&A about this, a study that's done that makes sense. Let's see where we go with this.
Whoa guys, shocker. A new poll reveals what we have already known all along, that gamers don't give a crap about inclusivity in video games. No way! It's almost like we've been trying to say this for a long time. And all of this forced diversity, inclusivity.
There's no such thing as forced. People exist, so they can go into any space, they can be part of anything. The concept of being forced into something suggests that it doesn't belong there. That is bullshit. They say forced because it is a term they've been using for a while. It doesn't make sense. I can play games just as much as she can play games. I could create a game just as much as she could create a game. Like, there's no reason why we should not be part of either ecosystem. There's no such thing as forced.
All of that has been ruining video games because for some reason that's top priority for them. And
so the existence of diversity ruins video games. That's an interesting perspective. Let's continue.
Expense of an actual aesthetically cool looking game that is
right, because they can't exist together. You can't be diverse and cool. It has to be non-diverse. That's the only way it can be cool. Got it.
Fun, you know. So here we have from Tech4Gamers, this is over 95% of players don't consider inclusivity important in gaming. 95. Now, these are people tell us that, oh, you're just like a loud minority. You're just a bunch of haters. You don't reflect gaming. No, we're the majority. 95% don't give a crap about this forced inclusivity.
Okay, so Tech4Gamers, I looked up their website. It's kind of a weird website. They have stuff there that you can buy for like putting together your own gaming computer and stuff like that. They have that there, but they also have a lot of weird stories, like random people writing things for them. So I don't know if they necessarily have a quote unquote like leaning or some sort of agenda or something like that. I don't know if that's the case. I tried to look through a few stories. It doesn't seem like that's the case, but clearly like they have a lot of random people writing things for them from what I could tell. I didn't have the time to go through every article on the website, but it is sort of a weird thing where it's like editorial, cultural news pieces and selling PC gamer parts.
That has been ruining video games. Now, if you actually look back at old games from like PS1, PS2 era, so on and so forth, there were still some games with diversity in it. But the difference is that wasn't forced. It was organic. Look at the cast of the Snowboard.
No, it wasn't. There's no such thing as organic when you're planning out a game or something like that. Like organic would be like you have an event happening, right? You have a party happening. And the party starts out with like all white people. And then slowly throughout the night gets a bit more diverse. People just kind of show up and hang out and you're all having a good time. And you organically grew that party into a diverse community. That's how that happens. When you're planning out a game where everything has to be meticulously laid out, there is no such thing as an organic creation of that. It's going to be planned out, whether it is diverse or not diverse. It is all planned in advance. Organic is a weird word to use. I don't think she even understands how organic doesn't apply here, because let's be fair here, Melonie Mac is stupid.
Boarding game, SSX Tricky, so on and so forth. They had a very organically diverse cast. Nobody complained about it at all.
That's hyperbole. I'm pretty sure some people complained about it. But she's cooking here. I'm gonna let her cook a little bit, see where she goes with this. I'm curious if she's gonna show where this percentage in this poll came from. We have a lot of video left, so.
Now, this is where a lot of people lose sight of this reality. And they're so narcissistic that they can't fathom. They can't fathom that a lot of us are perfectly fine, that most of us are perfectly fine playing a game with a character that doesn't look like us.
I have determined that is a lie. I can't remember the last game that has come out that's been diverse in any level that you guys have accepted. Like everything from like character creator to just like some artistic takes on the way characters look. Like literally you guys have screamed about it. I can't remember where it's like, oh, this is one where diversity is done right. I'd love to be pointing that direction when it comes to Melonie Mac. I can't remember the last time she's talked about anything made where diversity is done right. It doesn't matter if it's like a independent game or if it's a major studio or if it's something else, like anything related to gaming at all. If it's diverse at all for any reason, you folks have complained about it. I haven't seen you say that it's okay in any regard.
Perfectly fine playing a game with a character who doesn't act like us. Perfectly fine playing a character that isn't like us at all. And these narcissists can't grasp that. I mean, look, there's games like Elden Ring, for example, which that's a good one. But there's games like Elden Ring where you create your own character, and many of us don't even make our characters look like ourselves. That probably breaks the brains of these woke mind virus.
Why would that break our brains? We're not the ones that have complained about character creators. That's you guys. You guys, I remember there's an entire rant by your friend Az about pronouns in a character creator. But continue, please.
Cult people. That's got to break their brains. Because for
Not
them,
really.
I feel seen. I need to feel seen. They need some sort of validation. They need to be a star. They need to be the main character. Now, obviously, if people want to make it...
I mean, when you're playing the game, you are the main character, Melonie. Are you really this stupid? When you're playing a game, a role-playing game, or a first-person game where you're following the story, as the main character, you are the main character. That's typically how this works. You're not playing like the shopkeeper selling potions to all of the important people that come through your shop.
A character that looks like them in a game that allows you to do so, that's fine. It doesn't inherently make you a narcissist or anything like that. But just saying, most of these video games that...
So you just admitted that doesn't necessarily make you a narcissist, but you are not helping your own argument here. You're not helping yourself. This is not helping. Like, already less than 3 minutes in, and I'm remembering why I think you're one of the dumbest content creators on this platform. Allegedly. Allegedly.
rose to massive popularity, like Tomb Raider or Halo, for example, Street Fighter, or so on and so forth. These games didn't have characters that the majority of people were going to see themselves in, or hardly anybody at all, if we're being real.
Street Fighter, one of the most diverse roster of characters, and they're not going to have any characters in there that people see themselves as. All right.
Real. And if people are going to see themselves in these characters, at that time, they probably weren't playing video games, because that's what us nerds were doing, and we were made fun of. So, like, back in the 90s, do you think...
So this is her othering people. This is one of her normal tactics, and it's such a lame, smooth brain way of, like, othering people. This is what us nerds did. As if people like myself who've been playing video games longer than Melonie's been alive, we aren't true gamers. And that doesn't even really matter. It doesn't really truly matter that I've been playing games since I was a little kid, but I have. And I think what it is she wants to make it seem like anybody else who is sharing the same community as her needs to be gatekept because of the kind of games that they want to play, which is just ridiculous. I mean, it's a ridiculous argument to begin with, regardless of how long you've been playing games, ultimately.
I think that many women who actually look like Lara Croft are playing Tomb Raider? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing, though, is... we just want good games. We want good games that have good art. That is also...
We've already established that something being diverse or including different kinds of people doesn't inherently make it bad. That is a really dumb argument, because you just said that there are other games with diversity in them. And so your argument doesn't make any sense, Melonie.
So important. Who wants to play an ugly game with ugly art? Now, there might be some sort of instance where, oh, here's a game called Goopy Monster, where you're in the sewer and you get to goop and goopy monster shapes, and this probably sounds weirder than it's supposed to. Anyway, you can transform into all these gross looking monsters under the sewer.
So why is that okay in your mind, but people wanting to have characters that look like they want them to look, why is that a problem? I'm hoping your next statement is going to answer that question for me. Let's see.
You know, there could be a way that you could make something like that, but in general, okay, you're playing this protagonist.
So no, there's no argument. You were just using an example with no argument whatsoever. Okay, continue.
Usually a male protagonist who's going to kick some butt. Then yeah, he needs to look powerful. And how do you make a male character look more powerful?
He doesn't need to look powerful.
You give him an athletic, muscular build.
No.
You have...
You don't have to. What if the character is about a robot? What if the character is about a little being made of energy. What, like, does Mario look muscular to you? Does Sonic the Hedgehog look muscular to you? You are making up these weird arbitrary statements about how protagonists should be in video games, and it doesn't make any sense, Melonie. You are projecting what you want them to look like. You are saying, this is what I want these characters to look like, personally. But yeah, you're also calling other people narcissistic for asking for characters that they want to see. It is a fallacy argument.
Aesthetically attractive silhouette. Now, I'm not saying no pornographic stuff, but an aesthetically attractive silhouette because, hey, that's part of the power fantasy. It's part of what translates into, hey, this character is powerful. Same with female characters. So this reminds me of this tweet I just made. So if you
Okay, so since she didn't do it, since she has skipped over it, and we're going to see if she goes back to it here in a second. Yeah, she does. The study, this massive study that shows that 95% of gamers do not care about inclusivity. This big thing that she's hinging the video title on, okay, study reveals gamers don't care about inclusivity, is a random post in a forum with only 750 replies. And that was as of the time of me recording this video, which means when she made her video, there were probably less replies to it. So less than 750 people responded to a random poll in a forum post. That is what she's referring to. Okay, to save some time, energy, and some of your brain cells, I skipped through all of the Halo stuff. Maybe we'll cover that at another time. Like, the vast majority of this video was her complaining about Halo and the Master Chief stuff. It's just, it was absolutely awful. There's no point in watching that portion of the video. We're going to jump back into her talking about this study, which is what I wanted to talk about. And this is the end of her video. So let's see what she has to say here.
You gotta be delusional if you can't see this concerted effort to feminize male characters and masculinize female characters. People keep trying to gaslight us with this, but it's just what it is. I mean, this looks similar to Master Chief's armor right here. So yeah, anyway, there was a poll. 95%.
Are you going to say where the poll is from? A random forum post with less than 750 people voting. Are you going to mention that?
Of players, 95%. We don't care. When I'm playing a video game, I don't care if a character looks like me or not. I don't care about any of that.
But you do, because you keep arguing that they have to look a certain way. If you were to tell me, I don't care what they look like, and that is my stance, and then you did not go on to say, but they have to look like this specifically, they have to be muscular, they have to be sexy. If that was not part of your statement, I would say maybe you have an argument to make. Maybe you truly do not care. But you actually do care, which is why you keep trying to say that I want them to look a certain way, that they have to look a certain way. So by saying that, you've immediately suggested that you do actually care what they look like.
Like, imagine how narcissistic you gotta be. I only want to play a game where I feel seen. Get over yourself. That's the thing, is it's art. And notice, too, whenever they try to force this diversity and stuff.
It's art, which means it can be anything anybody wants it to be. Why is it everybody in this space is so anti-art and so hell-bent on censorship? But then they complain with something like Stellar Blade, where the person that created it changed the way something looks. But they're the ones who are saying that no one should demand that a character in a game looks a certain way. Fuck.
And they're like, oh, okay, let's throw, for example, they want to throw a black woman in there. Notice how when they do that, they deliberately make a black woman look unattractive. Like, look at that recent Star Wars game that had a black woman in it. They always use that same face scan. I can't remember.
I want to point out that black women in general, historically, and I've looked this up quite a bit, and if anybody knows more about this than I do in the comments, you can definitely leave this down below. But historically, black women in general have been accused in media when racism is present that they look too masculine, they look too manly, they look ugly. This is something that black women have had to deal with for a very long time, because features that are not seen as more white features are considered to be less attractive. So you're saying this And I don't even know if you realize this or not, but you're saying this, and it is a very racist way to look at beauty. So when you say this about someone, especially black women specifically, you are talking about beauty standards that are based on white people.
Remember which one, but they deliberately want to make the black women look very masculine, very
Here we go.
not cute. And it's like, dude, if you want to organically make a character, a black female character,
You don't, nothing. She's so fucking stupid, I swear. Allegedly. She's so allegedly stupid. When you are making a character for a game that's not a character creator, where you're sitting there doing it yourself as a developer or somebody making the game, it's not organic. It doesn't work that way. It's creating a character for a game isn't an organic character. It's not a person. Holy fuck.
and she's cute and pretty and all that stuff, people wouldn't be complaining about it. I mean, we've seen black female characters in games before, but not only do they want to force their race swaps, their queer stuff, especially, that's most egregious, but then they want to make them ugly. Then they don't even want to make them aesthetically cool to look at. It's weird, but that's the thing. Satan hates beauty. God made the world.
That's all I can take. The minute she starts talking about religious stuff and she starts weaponizing her religion, it's like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. I cannot. Allegedly one of the stupidest people making videos on YouTube. I swear to you. All right, so bottom line here, the study she's talking about is a forum post buried on a website with less than 750 votes as of the time recording my video, which means clearly it was less than that when this article was written, and she knows that. She didn't mention it because she doesn't want to try and justify where the study was done. Massive red flag. If somebody gets on YouTube and they tell you that a study was done and these were the results and it seems a little sus, always go to the article that they're showing and look where that study came from. Always do that. 100%, because it is misleading. It is misrepresenting. She's talking about a random forum post, not some study done with a control group where they actually asked questions to people and sat down and had a certain amount of numbers of people voting. Like, this clearly was set up so that the votes would go in a certain direction. And so she's using the Tech for Gamers article to do that because she couldn't just go to the forums and pull the numbers up, because that would have looked really bad. That's why she didn't mention it. And I didn't think she was. I was waiting to see if she was going to do it. She never did. And then she spent the vast majority of this video complaining about Master Chief and the change in the armor, which it was just 8 minutes of nonsense. So I saved you guys trouble of that. I focused solely on the article she was talking about because that is what I came to the video for. And she did not satisfy what I needed in terms of an argument about this. I don't believe this. It is very biased. It's very one-sided. And she is allegedly very stupid.